Okay, so this version of Autumn Leaves is going to be in the key of G minor or B flat major. I picked this key because it's a very common jazz key, and you would most likely play this song in this key if you're playing with a jazz band, especially with horn players. So guitar players are typically used to playing this in the key of E minor or G major, which is a good key to play solo arrangements in, but we're going to try to break out of the box a little bit and play it in the key of G minor. So let's go over our chords first. We have the 2 chord, the 5 chord, the 1 chord, and the 4 chord. So let's talk about that section first. That's all diatonic to B flat major. Okay, so I start off my solo by playing part of the melody, but then I shift. Okay, so where does that come from? Most of it comes from our scale. So a C Dorian mode or the B flat major scale. You can use that for the C minor, the F, and the B flat. Also the E flat as well, because it's all B flat major. It's all the same key. Now, one of the interesting things that we're going to be doing is we're going to be adding notes, especially over the F7 chord. So that's our dominant 7th chord. So when we get to the F7th chord, right here, we have this F sharp, okay? Now this can come from a wide variety of scales. It can come from the altered scale. It can come from the Mixolydian flat 2, flat 6 mode, and I'll link a video above that goes over all these different ways to solo over a dominant 7th chord, and especially an altered chord. So a dominant 7th chord with altered tensions such as flat 9, sharp 9, etc. Now right here for the B flat, I land on the 3rd of the chord, and I just add some chromatic passing tones. Okay, so that's another thing you're going to see a lot in this solo. We're going to be adding chromatic passing tones to connect a lot of these notes from the scales or from the arpeggios. So we have the 3rd connected to the 5th. Okay, then we get to the E flat major 7. All from the scale, okay? So you can think of this as the B flat major scale or the E flat Lydian scale. See, I'm taking the same kind of motif, the same idea, and then I'm going to play it over the A minor 7 flat 5 as well. Now there is a little chromatic tone right there, just to keep in line with the motif. Okay? And notice I'm focusing on the notes of the chords. I'm focusing on the notes of the arpeggio. So for that A minor 7 flat 5, you have A, you have C, you have the flattened 5th, which is an E flat, and you have the G, which is the 7th. So you can see part of the arpeggio in there. It's also kind of like a C minor arpeggio. Okay, so we have So right here, I took that same motif, I put it over the D7, and again, I made it altered. So you can see it's kind of like a D7 with a sharp 5. Now right there, that's another chromatic tone, and it's just like a little neighbor tone. Okay, we're just stepping out, coming right back in. Again, we're going to resolve on that 9 of the G chord. And we do a little neighbor tone again, another chromatic tone. Okay, so in jazz, we like to add these chromatic tones, either passing between notes, or in this case, it's the same note just coming back. Okay, so that key note is the G, and that F sharp is just a little passing tone or a little neighbor tone. All right, now in this next measure, I changed that G minor to a G7 or a G7 altered. Now that's kind of like a little diminished arpeggio. And you can play these diminished arpeggios over altered chords. They work really well. So I'm approaching the B, which is the third, and then going down a diminished arpeggio from there. Okay, and then we're back on C. Now this right here is just a big arpeggio. It's all from the scale or from the key. Really cool arpeggio based off of C minor. We have the 5th, 7th, 9, 11, and then the 3rd, the flattened 3rd. That's just a C minor. Okay, so now we're on the F again. So again, we're going to do some altered tones here. So already we're on the flat 13 or the sharp 5th right here. Okay, adding some more chromatic passing tones to get to the 3rd of the chord. Okay, this is the flat 9 of the F7. Now that's again just a little neighbor tone. And that's our resolution to B flat. Okay, then we have our E flat major 7th arpeggio right here. Okay, and then we're going back to the A minor 7 flat 5. Again with those chromatic passing tones. And right here we're going to be playing the arpeggio again. And then I'm walking up chromatically to D. So I'm connecting the arpeggios from A minor 7 to D7. Now this part, I decided to do some whole tone arpeggios or just some whole tone patterns. Okay, it works really well over altered chords. Again, you can check out that other video I have about soloing over altered chords to learn a little bit more about this technique. So at that point, we're going to resolve to G. Now this right here, again, is just kind of approaching the arpeggio of a G minor chord, using those chromatic approach tones. And then we're going to walk up. This is the bridge, and I actually play a little bit of the melody right there. And then some more chromatic passing tones to get to the 3rd of D. Now right there is a really cool little enclosure. So some more chromatic tones. But I'm focusing on the B flat, so we're surrounding that B flat and landing on G. There we go again with some more chromatic sidestepping. Now again, same thing as before, that's still coming from that diminished arpeggio over the G7. That's going to get us to C minor again. Just right down the scale, right down the arpeggio. You can see the C minor arpeggio right there. And then just going down the scale, down C Dorian. Now right here, I did something a little bit different. I was actually thinking of an E flat minor chord. Okay, and that kind of gives us some interesting tones over the F7. It's still an altered sound. And then we resolve to this 3rd of B flat, which is a D note. And then we have some fourths. Okay, now this is all again just from the scale. And then we resolve to this sharp 11 of E flat. Okay, still from the scale. It's from E flat Lydian or the B flat major scale. Okay, so I take this idea and I basically play it again almost over the A minor 7 flat 5. And then what we have here is going down to the D. Again, that same chromatic passing idea. We did the same thing from the 5th to the major 3rd of D7. And then we have some 2-5-1s here. Okay, so that's basically G minor 7th. We have some like a little augmented chord over the C7. Again, that's altered. And then almost the same thing over the F minor to B flat 7. And we resolve to the 3 of E flat. So this is the 3rd note of an E flat major chord. That's all just from the scale. And then we finish with this altered arpeggio over the D7. And then we resolve on G. Of course, we can play a big G minor 6 chord at the end with the 9 on the top. And there you go.